morning and welcome to the Capital Gang. I am Oscar Semoya Msoke, and as Moses would say, with a bevy of topics this morning. And in the studio, I have found the ED, Hajati Sharifa Buzeki. I should have told Alan, I kept telling her that Alan, say all the names. Hajati Sharifa Buzeki. You're most welcome. You finished the morning show. Now I've captured you for 10 minutes of the Capital Gang. Yes. You can hear the noisy gangsters coming in. Oponopono is here. You speak.
Why has the ED KCCA avoided the hot seat and opted for a monorail?
The soft seat. She opted for the soft seat.
Did not avoid. She only came in for what she was invited for.
Yeah. Which is the soft seat? Moses says soft seat. So I was driving in and calling Ali and saying, keep the ED there. I'm coming. Keep her there. I want to talk about Kambocha traffic lights and Old Chida Road. If you talk about those two, I'll let you go. So when are you going to fix Old Chida Road?
In fact, today, I came via Nakawa.
Yeah.
All the way from Nakawa to Kitgum House.
Yeah.
Traffic lights were off. I think they take holidays on Saturday morning.
Actually, when the traffic lights are off, it was easier. Today, when the traffic lights were off in Kambocha, it was easier to get here. Yeah. So,
okay, thank you very much.
Edie.
I think just as Mr. Fona said, it does not happen all the time. We all know that we had an interruption last night of power because of the rain and the wind. And by the time I came here, I had already signaled the teams to rectify that. Yes.
Can you do something about Kambocha traffic lights? It's actually a lot better when they are off. Like this morning, the traffic is smooth because they are off.
No. I think it's not better when they are off. Maybe because you did not.
I know it from experience.
You did not meet people there. What we can do is at our traffic control center, we can be able to adjust the timelines depending on the traffic.
It is an urgent issue. So I'm going to quote you. On Saturday, I'll quote you. Yes. When I come in, if I delay because of the traffic lights, I'll quote you and I'll be blaming you. And Old Chida Road?
Old Chida Road...
Today it's not dusty because there was rain. But and they kind of graded it to make it better. But it just needs a fix.
Yeah, we are going to fix all those roads.
No, not all of them. Just Old Chida Road.
Yes.
Let's start with that one. Coming all the way from international school.
That is true, but you are aware that we have even started on the issues of asphalt on that road.
You have?
Yes.
Which part?
I'll give you the details on which kilometer, whether kilometer 0 or kilometer 8. But the works are progressing, and we are going to fix them.
Okay. Everyone's dying for a question. Benjamin, go on, because she's going. This is your time.
Not even a big question,
but go to the microphone. Go to the microphone.
A comment for her attention: the high-handedness of the enforcement team at KCCA.
She kind of explained that
before I came.
But
yes.
Make the comment.
I always on that road where I work from, Lumumba Avenue. I always see them when they are stopping taxis, and sometimes what we watch on TV sometimes is very unhealthy.
Okay, thank you.
Hold on.
It's related. There's some funny company, I don't know whether I should mention it. This one that does parking enforcement. UPS would dump them. What's wrong with them? They treat motorists who park temporarily as if they're criminals in town. But I take it exceptionally. I'm going to be meeting their ED and then come back to you. But I think it's called Multiplex. It's a terrible company.
Okay. Oponopono?
Well,
soon. Honorable Oponopono.
I would wait.
Big man.
I will now wait when I'm on the floor.
But you are now in the court of public.
Court of public opinion.
The court of public.
I think her coming in, there's a sense in which I say as if there's money. Maybe government added KCCA money, or she's spending better. I see the roads that were started about 8 months ago taking shape. I give her credit for that. I hope she can mobilize with the residents to take our responsibility and obligation seriously, especially garbage.
Okay. Derek Kwandera, one question today. We have a minister in our midst, but I'll do the introductions after the ED has gone. Martin, do you have a compliment to make in your line of work?
Can only be a compliment.
Yes.
No, we work closely maybe with KCC. I think it's too early. Really, I told her to account.
Yeah.
Just give her some time to.
No, but
we
give
can
a
hold that.
compliment. Your work is to give her a compliment.
Well, fair so far.
It's fair.
I'll do better probably after now.
You know me, I'm a teacher.
Fair is what
Yeah.
scoring. Yeah.
But go on, Edie Sharifa.
Thank you very much for the questions, and I would call them feedback on how we are working. Enforcement, high-handedness of enforcement. On our enforcement team, we have provided numbers, and I've always told the public, we have a number in front and a number behind. That is to aid anyone who feels has been not handled well to be able to communicate to us that your enforcement team number this has done this and that. We've seen people reporting on our Twitter accounts, even on our different platforms like the toll-free line, and we have handled those cases. However, in the recent 3 months, I have not had calls from people on the high-handedness of enforcement. But when it happens, we are ready to receive that information and handle those people who are not doing right. Because at the end of the day, as opposed to private entities, for us as government, our work is to work to the satisfaction of the service recipient.
Okay.
We are not profit making, so we will be able to handle whoever will be doing what is not in line with what we preach. Then multiplex, I'll need to.
I know the owner of multiplex, so I'll get. I'll ask you, Joseph,
I'm
and you
going
tell me,
to-
and I task him.
I'm going to investigate this
What's
matter.
happening with them?
Yes, and I'll give feedback to you, and we will handle it.
Okay. And
Then on the issue of garbage and responsibility of citizens, we are on a massive campaign on holding people responsible for what they are supposed to do. But one parting shot I would like to leave in line with what Honorable Ofono Pondo has said.
kind of soon to be honorable.
Yes.
We may denominate you. Yeah. Go on.
The responsibility to have an ambient city is a shared one, and our laws are clear. Everyone holds the responsibility to manage whatever they generate as waste responsibly. On the issue of money, Mr. Honorable Fonda and the Minister knows, the budget has not expanded so much, but we are just deliberating using what we have responsibly.
Okay. Thank you so much, Executive Director, KCCA, Hajati Sharifa Buzeki. Thank you for staying for the 10 minutes on the Capital Gang. Ofono Pondo had accused you for wishing to be on a soft show. So we will invite you again and have tough questions for you
Invite her
in preparation.
Invite her when the real hounds are around.
When they are. But thank you so
Thank
much.
you. I would be glad to join.
Next week I'll comment on the traffic lights here and on Old Kira Road.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go and do this.
Yes, thank you very much. So, on to gang. You're most welcome. Joseph Ocheno, most welcome. Yes, most welcome, Ofono Pondo.
Thank you.
I've not
Oscar.
seen you since, go to the microphone. I've not seen you since you were elected unopposed as...
Yeah, I was on the show, but you had the
Yes.
you skipped. You skipped.
I invited you to that job. But
yeah,
go to the microphone.
you invited me, but although I'm unopposed,
Yeah.
I now have an obligation to root for the presidential candidate of NRM and all the others. So I have been doing countrywide mop-up, particularly where the presidential candidate has been, trying to find the loopholes, the weaknesses, the messages that haven't been probably delivered well, the skepticism, and we try to reinforce his efforts. That's why I haven't been in Kampala.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is quite.
And you cannot be denominated now. This
I
is the
don't
new
think so.
word
There would
just
be
come
no.
across.
There would be no reason.
To denominate you.
For example, academic qualification you and I were together at university, so
Oscar is your witness.
That's one I can
Abdul
witness.
Katuntu and others, Gumengovi, were in A6 together. Mwambusia here were in university. He was a little bit ahead of me, professor here. So on academic qualification,
You are safe.
I'm safe.
Yeah.
The question of age, my father was a county chief, a Sasa chief. My mother was a teacher, so the records are well kept.
Yeah, so-
All my teachers are available. So-
you know, it was
Yes,
They-
yeah. So there's
Today's
nothing
show-
on signatures.
Yeah.
No, of supporters. Everything is clean.
Yeah.
And also, as a transparent, disciplined NRM ideologue, we don't do things ajabu.
Like who?
We are methodical. We are not like UPC people who go to the Electoral Commission with the 3 presidents. All of them seeking to be nominated for the flag. And consequently, they fail to have a presidential candidate. We are not like UPC people.
Now, Opondo wants to start the conversation, but Oscar, I just need to remind you that it's 45 years ago yesterday when election results were declared, in which UPC won a convincing 60-point-something% in parliamentary terms, and NRA got 0.88%. But after that, instead of going to Mbarara, they went to Luwero bushes. Since then until today, all we can see is Chagulanyi being beaten. So, Opondo, stop boasting, Jam.
Joseph, so some people say that was the start of rigging in this country.
Apparently, Oscar, apparently.
But you're most welcome to
Indeed, but thank you. It's
introduction.
interesting. It's an introduction. The day before yesterday, I saw a clip of Paul Mwanga, extremely articulate. Apparently, I didn't know that the commissioners of the time were all approved by all the then 4 political parties, in consultation with them. So really, UPC had no space to play into that. And looking,
Yeah.
no, but it was Mwanga talking. I know people from UPM are so crudely biased that some of them, they can go to universities and come back and still refuse the obvious
Welcome
mathematics.
to the Capital Gang, Benjamin Katana.
Thank you very much, Marimu.
Yes.
Also, the audience should note that the vice chairman of the military commission, which rigged the elections,
Good man.
is the candidate of Ofono Opondo, Museveni Yoweri Tuhabura.
Okay. And actually, the signs were there to be, breaking the demonstrations of the time. But at that time, Professor Mwambusia was a member of that party as well. So don't exonerate him.
The party which rigged,
No,
or the party which was rigged out
the leader that
and went to the bush.
he was there at the time. Derek Wanda, you're most welcome to the Capital Gang.
Thank you. Thank you. It's always a pleasure to be here and listening to these very big brains.
Yes.
I always interview Professor Mwambusia here.
Derek wasn't yet born. I don't think his mother was married yet.
No.
Derek is the last born. How do you know?
Honorable, why throw the violence that early?
my favorite minister is also here, Honorable Martin Bahinduka Mugara. You're most welcome to Gang. We've been missing you.
Yes, thank you for having me. And I'm just from, I bring greetings from Mtoroko, where we hosted His Excellency the President on the 5th. And on the 12th, we also hosted the Katana's presidential candidate, Chagulanyi. And it was a very interesting contrast.
Was it peaceful
Yeah,
in your area? You didn't beat them up?
No, we agreed. You see, because
You agreed not to beat them?
No, because we were provided a venue in which he would hold a rally,
Yeah.
but he chose to hold it in town. We let it pass, and when he was going, when he was going to Budibujo, he just continued stopping in towns. Bubukwanga held a rally, Ntande he held a rally, Chakatimba. So I think it's his campaign strategy. And I want to tell you, in Toroko, if he had gone to the venue, he would have hardly gotten people. So I think it's easier for him when he stands in a trading center, some bystanders come maybe to see which Chagulanyi is, he posts that he has a crowd, and that's it.
And then
I
he
think,
goes.
and I think that's where the problem is with police. It's really, and he has violated, I think we'll speak to that, he has violated the Presidential Elections Act, all the sections, 21, 26, by the way he does these things. And it's creating a mess for us.
Okay. Today's topic is transition. We are looking at transitions. Who are the young people coming in? And you know, when you have Martin here as a minister, as a young minister, it is really good. We hope that you'll be minister again. after May 2026.
No. Actually, you should have listened to Oscar well. He has no doubt that definitely the NRM will be in power next. For the next 5 years.
That's my opinion, and I'm for sure.
But you in cabinet, you're a minister.
That's why I keep saying
Yes,
you
that's
don't need to beat these people because you're going to win the election.
That's up to my boss. But I've told you they are gross violators of really the elections, Presidential Elections Act, grossly in the way they communicate, and there are penalties. Actually, I wish to say this, I think the Electoral Commission, because we are not complaining as the NRM, is I would say grossly incompetent in how it's handling. Yes, I want to say this and I can defend my statement. Because there are penalties for violations of these very guidelines. And we can read the clauses per se. But the Electoral Commission has kept quiet. The way Chagulanyi is communicating, inciting, trying to cause regime change, mobilizing people against the regime, all these are provided for in the Presidential Elections Act. But also, most importantly, it's clearly stated that he will only campaign in areas where he has shared the schedules with the Electoral Commission and their approvals. In my area, and I want to say as a witness, he did not go to any of these venues.
Yeah, it's good you mentioned your area, but let's have that as a second topic when we talk about police brutality. For now, I want to start with the transition.
He's lobbying for reappointment. So
I will also lobby for him because he's doing
in
well
the NUP government.
In the whichever government, I will lobby for him. I actually think it's NRM will win, but the UCC has told us not to be biased.
Yeah, Mr. Katana is one of our mods. I invite people not to.
Why? Because he's from Bushenyi?
No.
When you get someone like Ofono Pondo calling you more, it's a compliment. Because otherwise.
First wait. Star Cafe is here. You have really missed Star Cafe.
Yeah.
So start on that journey.
I have had it's a compliment.
Start on.
I would be worried if Ofono Pondo praised me.
So, Professor, the first topic this morning is on transitions. I noticed that 4 old men are here, and 3 young men are also in the studio. One is opposition, one is a government minister, and the other one is a journalist. Do we see transition happening? Will it stay at parliamentary level? Will we have young people at parliamentary level? Because the old man wishes to come back as president. So where is the transition?
Thank you. And when Oscar, you seem to be even cornering me into a concept that I don't believe in.
Of transition?
Because for you, and maybe your do think that he confused transition with succession. The two are not the same.
I've also squeezed in that word because
transition normally refers to systems. Are we transiting to a different system, like a democratic system from an authoritarian system? Are we transiting from a military rule to a non-military rule? Are we transiting from the movement system to the multi-party system? So transition normally refers to a system, having a new system from another system. But this one is succession, more or less. So anyway, we can say that there are certain demographic trends that are taking place. There are certain new trends that are going on that people may ignore, may elect to ignore, but they are very important. Of course, demographically, the young generation is now, we are told that 70% of Ugandans are now below the age of 30, and the youth in the bracket between, I think, 30, not between 30, maybe between 18 and 30 or thereabout, are almost 30%. So naturally, inevitably, I think even in Parliament, we are going to see that one reflected in the Parliament. But are they consequential? My take is not so much. The issue is not arithmetic. The issue is not arithmetical. Politics is algebraic. It is not the numbers that you see are many. Like if you say 2A plus 4B is equal to 12 or 18 or whatever the case may be, you cannot know whether 2A and 4B, whether 2A is smaller than 4B or the other way around, unless you know the value of A and the value of B. So it's not a matter of sending people in parliament that there are many. They may not be having the power to make decision making. We normally make mistakes and look at statistics as numbers and quantitatively without looking at the qualitative contribution of that statistic. So, yes, we are going to have maybe more women, because after all they have the affirmative action slot, and the more districts and the municipalities and the cities are being created, and there are also a number who are joining the constituency race, that is women. So I think we are going to have a little bit of a number of women rising, but I don't know whether their voices are going to correspond, because quite, in my opinion, in my assessment, which may be wrong, the most vocal feminist activists are not the ones who normally go to parliament, and are not the ones who even are appointed in the cabinet and other posts. It is the meek ones who qualify. So, as President Museveni one day said, when he was in Jinja, he said, you voters, please, I request you, I urge you to send me people who can go to parliament and sleep, so that when they are woken up, they can vote accordingly. That is the preferred candidates he wanted to be voted in parliament. And therefore, I think some voters have listened to him, and they accordingly send such a people. So the issue of qualitative transition, if we want to use that transition, I put the question mark. But the question of numbers, I think we are going to have a new trend. And so is the trend out, but the trend outside parliament is different. You know, this Gen Z movement facilitated by technology is a new trend which people should notice. They have recently ferried people in the global south, but I think yesterday, they ferried a government somewhere in the global north. So it is a new trend, it is a new demographic facilitated by technology, and the things will not remain the same.
Joseph, the professor here frames the question kind of differently. Is it transition or succession?
It's absolutely as he suggests. It's actually a succession process. But regardless that perhaps, even if by definition we consider it transition, I'm not quite sure whether there's going to be anything majorly qualitatively different. And the reason is because what really would be changing, what would be new in a substantial manner, there's almost certainly going to be nothing. In any case, I think part of the fears, as suggested, sort of mini nuanced, is that we are possibly going to have a more yes legislative assembly than before. Possibly going to have a presidency which is a constant, but one which is weaker, in the sense that the poor old man wants now peace at his stage. And I would be very surprised that he'll be necessarily very interested in his legacy. I'm told he had said that he's not really interested in legacy. My concern, though, is that my concern, though, is the nature and quality of the civic consciousness of the current crop of people I see going around seeking parliamentary candidature. A critical section, maybe 10% actually, of legislators, and I've said it in this program, people like Martin here. There are people in cabinet who are very decent people. There are people in parliament who are very decent people. There are people in the judiciary who are very good people. There are people in different kind of arms of government who are decent people. But they're basically wrapped up by the core of the center of the 1981 crop of thinking, of people who went to the bush not for democracy, went to the bush not because of emancipation of people, went to the bush not with an agenda to turn around this country in terms of education, turnaround in this country in terms of health. We are discussing Kampala. I was actually being very generous to Hajat here, and I was quite surprised that I pulled myself back to critiquing and criticizing what the Kampala that I knew, the Kampala that we founded, the Kampala on which we had a template plan in the early 60s. The guys who did these template plans were not necessarily people with many PhDs. They're predominantly men in any case, but they were sufficiently clever to know that at the heart of this nation state would be young people, and at the heart of this would be women. And you do that not in terms of numbers. You do that by the number of schools, quality schools, public schools that you build, by the number of, in terms of access to healthcare, in terms of access to judicial system and processes. Oscar, I returned from Nagongara 2 days ago to attend a funeral of a young man in his early 30s who died recklessly in Nyakis, near the Saza headquarters where Fono Pondo's father used to operate very effectively at the time. And one of two people who died from a motor accident, completely avoidable. This is on a road that a UPC program had in 1989 to tarmac. The road is now messy. It's killing people. But side by side with that, there is a headline suggesting that 10 people died in Busia on a taxi that rammed onto a truck. A public service goods truck should be on the railways, freights. Obana Minister, in broader context, since you're more likely to be a minister than more possibly Derek here in the next 12 months, you need to be able to look at these things in a much more qualitative way. So the numbers thing, Oscar, is genuinely not the issue. The issue is basically qualitatively what we provide.
Derek, good questions here. Transition, do you believe that we have a transition? Or because the professor here says it might be a question of succession. Numbers won't matter because the power is centered in one place.
I think Professor Ndebeta puts it like quite boldly that if we are going to look at the wordings here in their vivid description and definition by what they go for in our dictionaries that we use, and then we will have to ask the question of whether we are getting it right or wrong. If we are asking whether it's transition or succession, I think he puts it quite rightly that it's more succession than transition. And I think President Museveni, in one of his first speeches when he enters into government, he mentions and is very intentional on saying it's a question. He enters with what he called a fundamental transition. Fundamental transition is not just change of faces; it's change of guard. We see change of institutions, change of so many things around the country, and I believe probably the most recent transition that we've seen is the one that President Museveni comes with, a fundamental change and shift of power from different people to others, not just in terms of faces, but also in institutions, in way of doing policy and strategy. What's happening right now is succession. If there is anyone for me to celebrate about becoming my leader, is OO, certainly. He's one person I will celebrate any day, because then when he comes...
This there is no transition. It's an old man we have sent.
No, I feel that's transition, and it doesn't come even with age. It comes with ideas.
Yeah.
If we have people who are not bringing ideas on table, but just changing faces to bring people who are going to resonate with whoever has put them into that place, then it's nothing like transition. So if there is anyone who is going to stand boldly on this show or anywhere and say, President Museveni, you are my president. I have served you for all these years, but I think this that you've done is wrong, and they are going to stand by their word, then that's something that we will say it's transition.
Is not
will do that.
No.
I have seen him and listened to him so many times.
Until he goes to Parliament.
Well, I don't know whether I don't know whether he's going to change.
You are not yet on the microphone.
And I think on this discussion we've touched on the discussion of age. I think by the fact that some of us have not witnessed the 1967 transitions and even the one of 1986, you are boxed into a corner to believe that when there is transition in terms of age, then there is going to be a shift of ideas. And transition has everything to do with ideas, policy, and things like that. And norms. That then when we see, even if he's an old man, he's going to come with new ideas, nuance into power. But also we believe that the young people, the Honorable Mugara, who is my OB here, brings a lot of different ideas in terms of how he resonates with the people, in terms of how he moves along with the changing technologies and stuff like that. He is going to sit there and tell you that, hey, I think in the creation of the new items and tools of AI, this is how we can handle to make sure that we accommodate the young people, we accommodate the middle-aged people and the old people to appreciate what's changing. But if you are going to bring someone who doesn't have any touch with the changing ideas, changing times and stuff, then that is just succession. It's just changing faces. It has nothing to do with transition.
The person of a young party here, Benjamin, I think you might be the oldest person in your party because the party is full of young people. But the way you're presented, the way NUP is presented, many people are just scared of your young people because sometimes the way they behave and the way they present themselves. Sometimes, have you heard that accusation? That
I hope you are also not a victim of willful ignorance. You know, Socrates advises that is the origin of all evil. The smart people capable of knowing the right things but choose not to because of many factors, including hard mentality. But what is important is that NUP is not just a party of young people, because what is important is not the age, but the age of the ideas. It is a party that represents the aspirations of the future. In a sense that what is the current state that we are talking about transiting from? Because I think that is what is important, not the age of people who are in offices, because there can be young people but whose world view is in the 70s, and then you have old people whose world view is progressive. The state of affairs is that we are dealing with what would be a state structure that has been turned into a weapon, an extractive weapon of those in power that they use to achieve their personal interests regardless of the position of the law. And that is why the minister can say that for us in Ntoroko we agreed not to beat them, but that should not take agreement. It takes the law. But the point is that
I didn't say that.
what we aspire to transition to is to run a country that is inclusive in terms of creating opportunities for all people, regardless of their age, so that also the old people have a role to play, the young people have a role to play, the middle-aged people have a role to play, the educated and highly skilled have a role to play, those that are not so skilled have a role to play, equal opportunity basically, but also to make sure that the institutions of the state are independent and able to execute their mandate without fear of offending those in authority or without even trying to favor those in authority. So that when you are a town clerk, when you are looking at the town engineers that plan, when you are looking at the plans to approve, the question is, shouldn't be whether this plan has been submitted by Katana or Fono Pondo, but whether it meets the standards. If you're running a school and you're admitting people, that you are looking at merit and the parameters set, that if you are recruiting people or considering people for promotions and training opportunities in security agencies, the consideration is not their DNA, but their qualifications and their abilities. So the transition that the country should be focusing on is that of restructuring the state of Uganda to make it stronger, to make it more sustainable and durable, but also to make it functional so that it is able to serve the citizens without fear or favor. Having young or old people in offices, it will depend or should depend on what contribution they are able to make, but not on the basis of their age. If you are looking for people to play football, maybe there you can say you are looking for people who are still within the age bracket. But if you are looking for people to engage in a discussion of how to, for example, change the face of our city, you attract people of ideas, whether they are young, whether they are female, whether they are old. Of course, without losing focus of some important aspects like affirmative action on account of historical and structural injustices. But we believe that for us, transition should not just be about the age of people in offices, but restructuring the entire government, changing the system and approach to how affairs of the state are run. So basically to transition from an authoritarian regime to a democratic dispensation.
You see it happening?
Certainly.
Okay. Martin Mugara, Mainduka, young minister. People here are saying young is not so important. He's among the young.
I'm not even amongst. There are so many young people in government, in parliament, supporting.
They're not so many young.
Even ministers. There are so many. The Biamukamas are 30. I mean, the current youth MP, the current youth MP, Nyamtoro is much younger,
Yeah.
and I think
You are about 4 of you.
Four of them.
Yeah, who can categorize as young.
yeah, but
And Professor here says you are of no consequence. I looked at you when he said that you know, the young people in your party.
Be of no consequence or consequence depending on your capacity, because you can have an old head on young shoulders, or you can have young shoulders with an old head, or the other way around.
Yeah.
Or the agenda of the organization in question and its leadership.
But Prof, the way I understood it, you know, sorry Martin, I'm still with you. The way I understood it, he was saying succession. So seeing that you, Martin, you are not in the royalty line, that's what he meant, that you are of no consequence.
no. I
That is consequential.
No. I think what matters the most really is that this NRM government has allowed all of us to participate freely. Yes, even in government. Yes, even
has participated us.
No. Even
Kishwa, we have been
Professor, even in government. That's why there are so many young ministers in parliament. And but just to go back to whether it's a transition or succession, I don't think it's either of the two. A transition is actually defined as something very different, maybe from an autocratic regime to a democratic one, a military junta to a democratic one. I think the NRM did this for us in 1986. Yes, when they came to power. Yes, when they came to power. If I just use the example of what is happening in the opposition, for instance, the old breed of the UPCs, the Kano SJs, and the new group of the Bobby Wines and the young people, how they relate with each other. Would you call that a transition within the opposition? I don't think you would. So for me, I think what matters the most really is what role do the people in Uganda play. This government has allowed us run this country democratically, and the biggest players, the decision makers in this, are the voters. I think that's what matters the most. So I don't think that there's going to be a lot of fundamental change now going forward. The laws are in place. We are following a constitution. There is an electoral cycle every 5 years, and people are allowed to elect whichever candidate they would choose. So and of course for succession, I don't even want to go there because it's a different argument altogether. I still.
Are you allowed to comment on the succession?
Yes, of course I am. I don't see it happening. I think even if General MK was to participate in the election, I think that's why you're focusing. If he had interest in becoming president, he would participate in an electoral process. And I see some pics from the MK army, a couple of groups mobilizing for him. If it didn't matter, if a democratic process didn't matter, he would not.
For the army commander?
No. Whatever you want to call it. If it didn't matter, then they wouldn't be doing that. I think we'll just wake up one day and the father hands over to him. So I think going forward, I don't see, and I don't even have much to add to this topic, really. I don't see any transition happening. It's just going to be a democratic process that will continue on the foundation that the NRM has built. I don't see anything different going forward.
It happen if Katana's party wins. That's what you're saying.
Well, I don't think it will.
In the unlikely event.
No, because you see, Katana cannot say that this regime is autocratic, is a junta. I think we've had these discussions. Yes, and is here. We've had these discussions. You cannot tell me a regime that is funding your activities every year with the billions of shillings, 4.9. Yeah, no, Katana, let me make my case.
You can see the best lack of understanding how to separate the state from the regime.
No, but you see, we've had that argument. Indeed, these decisions are made by the NRM party. It's the one in power. Yes.
The ideas of the old.
No, Katana. It is the NRM that is making these policies. And indeed, when there was a disagreement and they felt that we should revisit this and there is a withdrawal, it happened. They did. So we are in charge. That's the honest truth. And
you are arguing from a point of might, not a point of right.
No, it is okay. It is okay. So
second topic of today, I hope you feel empathetic with the people who have suffered and within these elections.
He cannot.
Yes, but
yesterday, there's a lady who works in a salon at Camera Club, was abducted together with her daughter, taken away, not
and
charged.
the priest did massacre.
Well,
we are going to talk about that next. But
we will, but I just wanted to state to Katana that you wouldn't say this is an autocracy and it's going to change maybe to a democracy. No,
we're funding political parties.
So many things. I think so many.
When people are being abducted in broad daylight.
No, we speak to that, like you said.
The old man sent to Parliament.
Yes.
And Martin says there's no transition. Professor says maybe you are talking about succession.
I'm not sure. I am a political scientist.
But you are wise along those lines.
Education. That's what I did in Makerere University. And I have been specializing as a practitioner, sharpening my tools of analysis. I think the nodal point of the transition in Uganda was 1996. Transition took place. There are elements of that. Are we improving the quality of that transition? I say yes, albeit the pace is gradual. Sometimes we suffer setbacks. Look at the politics. We started with appointed. People came from the bush, 38 of them, and said they were the interim legislature, NRC. We have since enacted the new constitution. We have some disagreements in the elements of the constitution, but it is operational and it is delivering on many fundamental areas. Today, we have a very large parliament, 99.9% elected by ordinary Ugandans in a process that is relatively transparent, and I'm using these words carefully, relatively transparent, fair. And again, there we have issues. We continue to improve that. Therefore, transition is actually taking place, has been taking place. In the specific terms that you asked, and all of them avoided the young people. In 1996, majority of the people who created that nodal point were actually young people, were between 14 and I think the president was among the Kiseka was. The President Museveni followed Kiseka, was 42 then. I think 42, yes, about 42. I think he was 42. Museveni was 42. So they were young people. He has since...
Then the age was not 14, it was actually 8. So to credit to NRA,
No.
yes, the youngest people there were 8 child soldiers.
I am putting them at 14. That's actually what I was referring to, the soldiers. Many of them were. And so we have since expanded that age group of young people, joining particularly the civil service, the armed services, and the elected political class. We added a new and second element of gender social groups that had prior been completely excluded. Women, disabled persons, and others. In this election, we had asked the percentage or the average of members, people who are contesting for members of parliament. I want to believe all the 292 that NUP presented for parliamentary candidature, majority of them are below 35, because NUP is generally a party of young people. They may be having sympathizers who are above that age, but majority of them, these candidates of theirs, are below 35.
And possibly their supporters as
Yes,
well.
the ones from NRM, 499, again, the overwhelming majority are below 38. If we go by the last 4 elections of parliament, the average age of parliamentarians when they enter has been 36, the average age. I think this time it's going to be a little lower, could be 34 or thereabout. If I look at the list of the candidates of the various political parties, those ones who are 60 and above are really facing extinction. The ones of the Matia Kasaija, you can count them on one hand. They may not exceed 5 or 7. And so the transition in this election is going to be massive in terms of
succession.
And within that transition, there's also succession. Because when you defeat Moses and you bring a younger person, when you defeat Matia Kasaija, I'm not saying they're going to be defeated, but when you defeat them and you bring, if you look at the people who defeated the NRM sitting members of parliament, the overwhelming majority, more than three quarters are younger people. So there is also succession. Succession within the country is that the dominant force succeeding is actually NRM. NRM is going to get overwhelming majority in that parliament, is going to get overwhelming majority in the local councils, save for the president. That's the only area where there's not going to be immediate succession and transition, for that matter. And so for me, I think what we need to pay attention to, how do we improve the quality? That the young people we are talking about, whether from NRM or from opposition parties, wherever they enter, which levels of government they enter, they bring new ideas. They bring new methods of doing things. They bring new methods of engaging with each other. And I can tell you, some of the things that motivated me in particular to say, let me jump into the fray of this parliament, is probably to make a contribution on the platform that matters most, in what personally I consider is going to be pivotal, similar to 1986. Because we need to be honest, I suspect this could as well be Yoweri Museveni's last go at the presidency. And therefore, this parliament and other levers of politics in the country.
We're going to jostle.
Not, you can use the word jostle, is going to be the robust platform where that succession is going to be debated. Not where it is going to be determined, but where it's going to be shaped.
Where will it be determined?
In the general population of Uganda, because at the end of the
military high command.
Well, that's according to you. You're not in the military command. You don't know. I don't think you have the agenda. As far as our constitution is concerned,
that is where.
As far as our constitution is concerned, it is the civilian population, starting with cabinet, which will bring probable amendments, parliament that will actually determine what amendments will be approved, and then the general vote in the population. And so for me, I think this parliament, we should put good eyes to it and ensure that that's where the bigger part of the debate cascading into the population takes place, for both another node of the transition, but more critical possibly is the succession. Both the succession of President Museveni, and if the Ugandans want, the succession of the NRM party, NRM political establishment, which has run the country for the last 40 years. Some of us are still energetic, body-wise, mentally, and I think we think that NRM still has what it takes
do you think
to be the central axis.
When the current speaker took office, should have been counted as young and the deputy speaker?
Yes, they should be.
Yeah.
Although youth by our definition in Uganda is 30 and below, by UN standards is 35 and below. But if you look at the political configuration and also their own experience in public politics, national politics, those two, the speaker and the deputy, they had hardly lived 10 years in political activism at the national level. They were doing like 7 years each of them. They were below 42. In fact, the speaker was below 42. The deputy speaker was also below 42. And so I would count them as young. And now if you even extrapolate it and say they were coming into the NRM, which is holding the machinery of government, this was their first time in the NRM, both as members of parliament and leaders at the party level. And so they were young. And in fact, many of you discounted, would this Anita Mong actually manage to run? First of all, you said we had been made to believe that the Speaker of Parliament should be a grand old, somebody who has a lot of experience, should be a lawyer, and so on. Even Tayebwa, who is a lawyer, I don't think his lawyering is the most... And even Tayebwa, who is a lawyer, I don't think...
Both are lawyers.
Okay, but lawyering isn't the... is not their front card. I don't think many of them see them
engaged in lawyering.
No, they are not engaged in the lawyering. They are engaged in political. Yes,
they are engaged in politicking.
Yes.
So, for me, I would consider them, and many of us consider them young. If you look at by the age of the majority in parliament, by the age of those in the cabinet and other levers of government, they are much younger than many people.
And previous speakers.
Yeah. So no, much younger than many.
Oscar, for that, if you don't mind.
We're going to stop for a break,
Okay.
and you'll have a chance.
Yeah, sure.
But we'll start with Professor here. There's a quote here from Yusuf Serunkuma on X, formerly Twitter, quoting the president saying the only true retirement is death. We'll stop for a break. Welcome back from the break. This is the Capital Gang, and well, there you have it, Prof. The president also thinks the only true retirement is death. And Ofono does say that maybe from there, that's where you will not have a transition. But part of the topic was what do you think the next ballot paper will look like?
The ballot paper or the counting?
No, the ballot paper.
You can't count when there's no ballot.
This ballot paper is sorted. The next ballot paper, 5 years from now.
Some ballot papers, of course, in certain constituencies, they are going to look like a rolled piece of paper where you have very many people, others going behind, but others it is, I think, average and normal. So to me, the ballot paper...
That ballot paper, will it have Yoweri Museveni? Will it have Fonopondo? Will it have Mwevesa?
I don't know exactly what you are getting at, because those who have been nominated will appear there unless they die. So I don't know why that one is being raised. To me, what should have been fundamental is will that ballot paper's outcome give us a direction that the people desire. That is what, to me, would have been very important. And I want to say that those who are saying that the outcome is almost determined, in my opinion, is also correct. I want to say here that there is a fundamental problem which people are not seeing. In some parts of Africa, all post-liberation movements and parties and presidents have an entitlement mentality, have an entitlement norm, and they have constructed the state around militarism. And you do not expect any change through constitutional means. Whether it is Frelimo in Mozambique, or ZANU-PF in Zimbabwe, or RPF in Rwanda, NRM in Uganda, SPLA in Sudan, the one of Ethiopian People's Revolutionary something has been dissolved. Whether it is in Eritrea, the post-liberation regimes.
Liberation.
Even the ANC, you can add the ANC.
CCM is liberation and revolution.
And it has not, by the way, we are talking about liberation through armed struggle. CCM has not come through the armed struggle. I'm talking about those which came under the armed struggle.
How about Kanu? Was armed struggle?
No, Kanu is not the one which was in the bush.
Metamorphosis.
I am talking about post-independence, post-liberation regimes. None will hand over power constitutionally. None has handed over power constitutionally. And we have to look at that issue seriously if we have to look at the emancipation of Africa. SWAPO will not. SWAPO has not. I'm talking about movements and parties, not necessarily individuals, that none of those post-liberation, that is post-independence liberation movements, has sought about leaving power. They have got an entitlement mentality. Ahmad of Ethiopia had to dissolve that party, and then those who had the an entitlement mentality, they had to go and fight. We are talking about the Tigrayans. Up to now, they have not accepted the regime in Addis Ababa. So, this entitlement mentality that we do have in those post-liberation movements and parties needs to recheck. We need to have a self-evaluation if we have to have democratic processes and if we have to have peace in the region. Because all those post-liberation movements have constructed government states along the military lines. They have militarized elections and now are securitizing elections. What do I mean by securitizing elections and securitizing opposition? Any opposition who comes up will be securitized, it will be labeled, it will be framed as an enemy of the state, not an opponent, as an enemy of stability, as an enemy of security. So you frame them in a security manner, you securitize them so that you postpone normal circumstances, normal procedures in order to handle the enemy. You can see how the opposition is being beaten. The people who are beating, I think Kajabogo Karisoke put it one time and we laughed at it, we didn't know it was a serious issue. He said some are people, others are mere biological substances. So the psychological mindset of those who are beating is that we are beating biological substances. We are not beating human beings. To the extent that when they arrest these katanas, and they take you to a safe house, and then you go to court and ask for habeas corpus and all that, and you ask where these people are, they will tell you we don't have them when they have them. And they are right. Ask me why I say they are right. They are keeping biological substances. The habeas corpus is looking for human beings, but the people keeping them are keeping biological substances. So you can go and kick those biological substances. You can go and molest them. You can beat them the Nkoni style that we saw in Guru. What you are beating is a biological substance. Therefore, but those people, when they are at home, they are humble. Don't think that they are mad or they are whatever. I mean, the CDF, Rogaba said, I don't know what I am. He posted it. I don't know. When I reach home, my wife, can even beat me. I don't know. You can see how humble he is. But let him deal with the biological substance. The biological substance will be dealt with as a biological substance, not a human being. So psychologically, I want to explain. I'm looking for an explanation. There are two explanations I'm giving. One is the political explanation that the post-liberation regimes in this region, Frelimo, ZANU, whatever, they are not ready to give up power. It is an entitlement. They kill the animal. They have to kill it. They have to eat the animal and exclude others. People were talking about democracy and separation of powers. Where is separation of powers? The judiciary, the legislature, and the executive in Uganda is not there. People were talking about, I think it is my friend here, Opondo, who was saying the parliament will decide. I can assure the nation that who will decide the successor of Museveni will be the military high command. Don't tell me that there will be something in parliament or even in the NRM party that there will be a cabinet meeting, whatever. It will be the military high command that will determine who will succeed President Museveni.
You're now disqualifying your right to determine.
To determine me determining,
and I don't want you. You are trying to put.
It will
Uganda,
not be me who will determine. It will be the military high command.
You are trying to inject Ugandans with amnesia.
Okay, just leave me. I know you are a good. You know, Fono Pondo here said he is a great thinker. He is a politician. He is a great thinker. He has learned a lot. I am telling him and the nation that the one who will succeed Museveni, who will succeed even NRM, will not be the civilians, will not be parliament, will not be the judiciary, will not be the cabinet, will be the military high command that will determine who will succeed the President Museveni. I submit.
We will know what Mao's board will be involved.
Let me comment on Mao.
Is it the only one?
Mao recently. Listen. Recently, Mao, listen. Are you listening? Are you listening?
He's listening. Yes.
Mao has been a proponent of these electoral reforms and other reforms. He said he has a file. Then he took a file. He said it, that he took a file to cabinet as the Minister of Constitutional Affairs for constitutional reforms. And when he reached cabinet, the file was removed from him. Did the Ofono Pondo and the like hear Mao, or they didn't hear him?
Ofono Pondo is not yet in parliament.
But also, when Mao remember
the file was removed from him.
Just remember when Mao joined the cabinet on understanding with the president and made those statements. I was the government spokesperson, and I said, NRM is here, NRM has its agenda. It is not up to Honorable Norbert Mao to determine either the agenda or the direction of the NRM government. I said that on this show.
Yeah, I agree with this.
Secondly, Secondly,
but he's a minister of constitutional affairs.
Secondly, I said.
So he's being participated.
So I said, if Mao is claiming, I said, if Mao is claiming that he has a bill proposing constitutional amendment, transition, whatever, we had not seen it in cabinet. I said so. Maybe you didn't listen. I think, yes, you listened to Mao. Now, well, taken away by who? So I think Mao was trying to be clever by half. Really. After, I'll go and ask him. Let him give you a dummy copy, a draft copy of those proposals he claims to have put in the cabinet.
Oscar, there's always breaking news here.
Yes.
I think Professor is making assumptions, really.
There's no such a proposal. I'm saying there's no such a proposal. There's no such
but it didn't come.
Proposal from him.
No, it's not senior to me. Seniority is on the basis of when we joined the cabinet. Of course, yes, there he is. But in terms of joining, if you're talking about experience, it's the same.
Thank you, Prof. So Joseph, you're on microphone to close out the subject.
Prof can shout, but you don't know how this government runs, and I am telling you what I know. Because I have been the spokesperson of this movement for 28 years.
Wrong is the old school of NRM. Deception is the key tool. So he's just trying to mislead the population, but he has the reality.
Prof, pause for a minute. Joseph, close out this subject.
Wow.
Transition and succession.
Transition and succession, I really don't know what to say beyond what I said, but I thought I would just make something very important in terms of qualitative debate on these issues. That for the purposes of our listeners and the citizens, the issue of age, we should contextualize that it should really be about the qualitative material put on table. The independence government, Prime Minister 37, most of the ministers were in late 20s and they performed excellent. In fact, no other government has challenged them. Obote 2 government, most of the ministers were in the early 30s, including another 29-year-old. But the issues really, when we look at this issue, should be this. That young people really generally is about employment, it's about housing, it's about law and order, it's about tech, it's about environment. Women, numbers neither here nor there. It's really about access to health, justice, economics, water and sanitation, girl child education, security, and food security. As early as 1963, we're building girl child schools across the country, including Fonopondos near Toro Girls. So really to emphasize, not to score points, but for a future government, that when we are looking at youth and women issues, we should really be looking at these things at qualitative on a qualitative basis. But regardless, we welcome the numbers.
Oscar, I would like to say something. Oscar, can I just say
on Joseph, in your good old days,
which is part of the future,
that you keep giving, what was the life expectancy? What was the literacy rate? There are international standards, indices for these things. In the last 40 years, NRM has brought down maternal and infant mortality. You can't dispute because they're internationally recognized.
I was not talking about either or. And
access to clean water, the expansion of infrastructure. You may discuss about quality and so on. The expansion and access. Also, please, numbers yes matter, quality matters, but those young people you're talking about did not give as much access as we have today.
Because it started in his government.
They are the ones who never gave a person who disagreed with them, even in trading.
Oscar, you see, I've been listening to Professor really painting a picture that Ugandans have no say in determining who leads them. I think this is very unfortunate, and I could, because he gives a lot of theories. For Professor, I'm not amused. But let me just say,
a lot of people may be sympathetic with his view,
yes,
even in your own party.
No, but I will just say 2 things. For instance, if I just did a comparison of the 2021 election, we had around I think 18 million Ugandans registered as voters. Okay, well, around 17 point something, 17.6, almost 18 million registered as voters. Only around 10 million voted. Around 10 million Ugandans voted. If for instance we look at the current numbers of Electoral Commission now, we have around 21 million Ugandans registered as voters, and when 10 million Ugandans voted then, those accounted for around 59.6% of the entire voter population, of the entire number of registered voters. Now probably if we use an average of the 21 million, we'll have only around 13 million people voting. And I want to show you why the NRM is a bit different and focuses on the people the more. As chairman NRM, Oscar, starting next week I'll be holding what we call parish meetings.
You said as chairman NRM?
Of Ntoroko district.
Okay.
Yes. I just want to help Professor.
I was going to say,
of NRM.
Yes. Yes.
The great leader said, no, those things can't.
Yes.
There's only one chairman.
Yes.
I think you remember.
Oscar.
Sorry, President.
Oscar.
Yeah.
Oscar.
No. President Museveni.
Oscar. I will be.
They were introducing president. Said no, you stop those things. There's one president here.
Yes, but no, I'm saying Chairman NRM Ntoroko. We will be launching, and the leadership team of Ntoroko will be launching our village mobilization campaigns. And I want to tell you, at each village, the NRM has 63 mobilizers.
No.
And just a second.
Because I want to ask you.
Yes, as you asked me.
You're going to start the next.
We have 63, and all these are flag bearers for youth, flag bearers for women, for elders that vote for OO, for chairman. In total 63. Now, if we just use a comparison, in this country we have around 71,000 villages as we speak. If we just took the 63 mobilizers we have at every village, in this next election, we have around 4.7 million voters, which account probably for around already 36, almost 37. No, let me finish, Katanda. And you see, that's why that is why you always lose, and you.
Instead of making your
Yes. So Oscar, of the 13 million, listen, of the 13 million voters, I'm talking about the 60% that will probably vote if you follow the previous percentages. You already have around 4.7 million NRM candidates that are going to vote for the NRM. These are our mobilizers. Even if each brought one, Oscar, even if each brought one, you'll have around 9.4 million, accounting for already 72% of the entire voter number.
Pause and we give you bigger questions. You at the nomination of your chairman and presidential candidate, there's another young person deposited 20 million. And when he came, we asked Dombo here, when he came to pick up nomination forms, they had printed one nomination form for one person. That's what Professor is referring to. All those things are happening, but he's saying, though I also disagree with him if I were to debate, but in your own party, there was only one form for the chairman. Do you remember that time?
Well, I did follow the story well, but no. But even if we go by what, listen, even if we go by what, because I think
this is what Professor is saying.
No,
he's not referring to all those good things you're saying, which are correct.
No, but OO has clearly explained. You're only looking at one position, but he has talked about all the other structures of government where there is participation and.
No. But Oscar, let me help him.
Yes.
You remember,
he needs the help.
Yeah, soon after the 2021 elections.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about the one nomination.
Yes. That's the precursor.
You have taken it to
NRM said, Central Executive Committee of NRM went for a retreat. And it made a resolution that in 2026, we want to continue with Yoweri Museveni. And they passed a resolution. Which was shared with the NRM platforms, NEC in particular, and they endorsed. Therefore, in 2026, when they called out for nomination for NRM candidates in various positions, Tango Doi and the Secretary General brought up the resolution and said, this is the resolution we passed. Therefore, we would be going counter against the resolution ourselves have made. We maintain the resolution, and that's how only one form for the chairman and presidential candidate was presented. That's the context. You can say it was unfair or whatever. You can say it is unfair or whatever, but that was our legitimate resolution.
Right.
Just like one.
Thank you. So, Derek Wanda, our second topic of the day was police brutality and how it's enforced always on a leading opposition person. Is this predetermined, especially now when Ofono Martin has explained why the president will win? All the statistics are clear, and we can use Martin's statistics going forward. So why is it necessary? Why is it why is it necessary to beat them? Have you experienced any of this beating? Have you noticed in your journalistic work this week?
Thank you, Oscar. I wanted to comment a little bit on the topic we just concluded, because I've been listening to the Honorable Martin Mugara and Honorable OO struggle so much to bring out words, and I shudder. I feel so I feel sympathetic with them, because when you try to assure Ugandans that decisions are made by one person, and you are trying to defend that position, you are going to look a little bit of half intelligent. I want to give an example. For instance, in 2018,
you've said that wrong. You mean
half intelligent?
Ugandans that there's more than one person that makes decisions.
No. There is only one person who makes decisions. Because in 2018, they sent out all MPs, including the Honorable Mugara, went to his constituency to find out whether or not they should change the constitution to lift the age limit. Many MPs came back with consensus from the people whom they lead, and they were saying, please do not do this, please do not do this. And when it came into Parliament, one person just made a decision, and so it was. And so if when they try to say no, don't say that the people of Uganda have a say, we know that we don't have a say. The second topic, you asked me whether I have witnessed this week. Yes, I have. I've been in the field. I've been covering these events. Whether or not it's predetermined, in my view, it's very predetermined. And I would like to borrow the words of the Honorable Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs. He assured Ugandans that we have sat and planned that this is going to be the calmest, quietest election or campaign. You will
started that way.
You will even hear a pin drop when these people are moving around. And just last week,
No, but he added on.
yes,
What did he add on?
he said so many things.
No, he said that if you are not quiet, we shall quieten you.
Yes. Just last week, he was lamenting, castigating, and lambasting everyone in government, and saying, "No, Gulu. Yes, Gulu is the most calm place. This is the place that you don't. The epicenter of all violence happened in Gulu, where he comes from, and yet he's the one who assured Ugandans that there was going. So it's always choreographed. It's something that people sit around and say, how do we deal with this strongest opposition politician? That then you want to cut their speed. You want to make sure that you intimidate their people not to go to their rallies. You want to slow them down. You want to even to break them in terms of spirit. So what do? Beat them a bit, or even more. Arrest them and stuff like that. What I don't know is whether they can go ahead and arrest the Honorable Kyagulanyi following what happened in 2020, 19th and 18th of November. My own assessment as a journalist who has been on ground is that there are serious decisions that are taken on ground by the commanders. I was in Jinja, for instance, and when I reached in Jinja, I had an engagement with the RPC, and it was a personal thing, but then how everything was treated, and the Honorable Benjamin Katana can attest to this, it was very calm. Kyagulanyi went into 3 rallies in Masese, went to 3 rallies. He campaigned and left and exited Jinja very peacefully. And just the moment he touched base in Iganga, hell broke loose. And that's where we saw that even live ammunition was unleashed on Ugandans, and 3 of them died, although the police still quotes 1. But I know on ground that 3 people died, including a 7-year-old child who was trampled on in the stampede. So where do these decisions change? Do they change at the top command, or do they change at the what they normally say that these are just maybe like very happy officers who are happy to open the gun, who are trigger happy, that they get excited. I don't think they get excited, because when I saw the command in Jinja, there is one officer who was going to cane someone. The DPC of Jinja pulled him back and told him, do not cane anyone, do not beat anyone, and trust you me, Jinja was very peaceful. And going to Iganga, things turned around.
In the 1 minute left to the break, after the break we'll have Benjamin. Are these people going to be named, the ones who beat up people with big sticks? I saw a video, there's a video going around, and it had the name Karugava. Is that a police officer?
Certainly, there's so many tools that Ugandans are using right now. Even when you call us as journalists to do, we have done our job in trying to make sure that we hold people to account, we hold those in power to account. But Ugandans have devised means. Before you know, they bring the face of the person and they are splashing the names and where this person comes from and stuff. So good officers should know that even when they are doing or they are obeying certain commands, at the end of the day, Ugandans are going to hold them to account in their own capacity. Because now, because of the tools and the AI, everyone can be identified. Yeah. Even one who is coming and is covering their face and is even on plain clothes, they are being exposed. They are being given. One of the officers who has been who is always moving on the trail is called the Afande Muchibi. One person told me, and some people told me, that Afande Muchibi's wife has a stall around Kumusambu, Kumbuzi, Gayaza Road. Yes, but I'm told that people have been shunning her stall because they're saying your husband is maiming Ugandans. Why should we even come and support your business? So even when you do certain things as an officer, it's very, very bad, because Ugandans are going to hold you to account.
Let's stop for a break. Welcome back from the break. Welcome back from the break. I'm even kunanagira. So
hot break.
It was a hot break. Benjamin Katana, you're on microphone. You even when you do nothing, they beat you up. Because I can imagine, why would you beat Benjamin?
How come that Katana and Robongoya have never been beaten or taken to police?
I have the video. I'll show you.
Yeah.
They are not foot soldiers.
No. I think Oscar.
Yeah.
You started from a point of telling him when I was assaulted, and he celebrated.
Yeah. Did you say sorry to him?
No, he's even saying I have never been beaten. But that is besides the point. I think the most important thing is to start from a point of knowing that electioneering and the attendant processes in the book of Museveni is for legitimacy. But he retains power through fear, scaring the population. And that fear must be reinforced. And how is it reinforced? By targeting those that ordinarily would embolden others to stand up and assert their rights. So you will have the opposition supporters beaten, you will have their leaders arrested and humiliated, taken through a chariot of trial that never comes to anything. Because you see, what is happening to NUP is not new. It has happened to Dr. Besigye. He was charged with all sorts of ridiculous things. I remember, like Professor was saying, securitization. I remember how the late Noble Mayombo and Procol used to run from every radio station to another, presenting evidence of treason against Besigye, working with the RRA. But when the man eventually came back here, the trial collapsed because they were never interested in a trial. They were only interested in achieving a political objective. So the beating and harassment that takes place today is not accidental, is part of the grand strategy of Museveni to keep power. He will have all these processes that are going on for legitimacy. Because even the worst dictator wants to be looked at as a democrat, because for many reasons. One, he may be isolated by the rest of the world But number two, if you are a poor man like him, you want to borrow money from IMF and elsewhere, and you need to meet certain standards that you are having elections. But I think the message the people of Uganda must know that all these, the beatings, the harassment, the torture, is intended to break their spirit. Because you see, when a thief comes to steal from you, even when you are not going to resist, he will want to beat you to near death or even kill you, because he is operating from a point of guilt that, one, I'm taking out something that does not belong to me, and ordinarily this person should fight back. So his strategy number one is to disable you, and I think that's what they are trying to do. What is happening in Uganda is not new. It has happened all over the world in countries that are run on the same model and basis as this. But the most important thing is for people not to allow their spirit to be broken. And there are many examples. You remember in Gambia, that man called Yahya Jammeh. And many people have been saying that this election is predetermined. And I think that is the objective of the regime. But this may not be the first predetermined result to be upset by the people. Provided the people choose resilience and spirit organization, they can overwhelm any plans and upset their pre-planned objective. And that's what we have been telling people, that if these people are saying that the elections don't matter, why are they moving around campaigning, bribing, and beating people? Because they know that it matters. Once people have turned up in big numbers and voted overwhelmingly and taken a position, they'll be more motivated to stand firm and challenge any attempts to subvert the firm position they have taken.
I saw your principal heading to Fort Portal. Chairman Rocco here says that the problem with your leader on his campaigns, he wants to go through towns and does not go to designated places. But it seemed like for Fort Portal, he was not allowed to go to the designated place. Or was he objecting to going to the designated place?
You see, Oscar, there is an old... when the leopard wants to eat its children, it will accuse them of smelling like goats. So the NRM, because the NRM people has different categories of people. The NRM has different categories of people. There are those who are violent, who have no emotions, but it also has some people with a conscience. And in finding these flimsy explanations to justify violence, they must find a way of giving justification to those with conscience that no, we are trying to enforce the law. But they forget one thing, that even in enforcement, there are parameters. There are standards that must be followed. If Katana has violated the law, you don't go and punish the entire village where he comes from because he has violated the law. If our candidate has violated any of the rules, which is not true, has he been charged, or they are now punishing his supporters on account of his violation, alleged violation, which is even not true? So all these excuses, because, for example, from the beginning of this campaign, they adopted a new strategy of making sure that he does not reach his scheduled campaign venues. When he's left with 30 minutes to reach Fort Portal, the policemen come and say, this main road is blocked. You must take a detour, where he spends 3 hours. On that particular day, he was not able to address any rally. There's a time we were in Mukono. We were about, because now you can check with Google, we're about 10 minutes away from the venue. They blocked the road, and we took a detour of about 2 hours. We ended up missing 2 rallies. So what he's saying is just trying to justify their unfairness in trying to ensure that the candidate is not able to address the rallies that he's supposed to address. But he has not violated any law, and if a person violates a law, it is not for the politicians to come and say that Teofano Opondo has violated the law. No, there is police. There are standards. Police follows the standards and parameters, causes an arrest, a person is charged and tried. But you don't come and punish an entire party. You say you are not going to go and address a rally in this place because one of your supporters did ABC in Rira, so you stop us from going to address rallies in Barara district. So that's the argument that they are getting wrong.
Yes, Martin.
So the leopards are smelling like a goat. The kids of a leopard are smelling
Martin
like a goat.
Mugara on microphone.
Yes.
If going by your statistics, you are going to win massively, so why is it necessary to beat these people? His statistics would mean that they would win massively.
Yes, and
Because already you have shown where 4.5 million is coming from.
yes.
And
Well,
in the last election, the opposition leader did not get 4.5 million voters.
I don't think he'll still get even now. But of course, beating is unfortunate. But I think it's unfair when we don't equally apportion blame, specifically on
the beaten.
Yeah, because where does this whole scenario start from? No, but you see, you see, yes, and I will just use the Fort Portal example. I was just looking at the Presidential Elections Act here. I was looking at section, and Katana is a lawyer. I was just looking at section 21 of the, and it indeed, if you look at clause 2, it says any candidate has a right to campaign anywhere in the country. But somewhere it says a candidate shall not hold any public campaign meeting under subsection 2 except in accordance with a program of meetings submitted by the candidate to the commission. Now, and I can also read clause, I can read 23. Just
in respect to districts, we are scheduled to be in a district, not a specific village. I'll submitted to electoral commission.
I'll come to that. If you look at clause 23, which speaks to equal treatment, equal rights, and if you look at subclause 2, subject to the Constitution, every candidate shall enjoy complete and unhindered freedom of expression and access to information in exercise of the right to campaign under this Act. But a person shall not, while campaigning, use any language which constitutes incitement to public disorder, insurrection, or violence, or which threatens war, or which is defamatory or insulting, or which constitutes incitement or hatred. I think Kyagulanyi has actually, and there are penalties for breaching all these laws, and that is why I started by saying that I think the Electoral Commission is also no, and that is why I also fault the Electoral Commission, because it hasn't come out clearly to enforce. Because you see, you're not running elections as Biabakam as an individual. There are guidelines. The law said this is a 2005 Act that prescribed how a campaign or a candidate should go through a campaign process, and now you have a
So we're asking, why is the Electoral Commission enforcing if so? Because if not, then
yes. So when you go, because I know there are meetings that are held with the I'll continue referring to Loop, with the Loop mobilizers on the ground. They agree on a venue, they agree on a route. For instance, what happened in Fort Portal? The Honorable Kyagulanyi was supposed to have a campaign rally where actually the president had a campaign rally, very big field, I think around Chegobe, around the school. But he insisted on going because he was coming from the Kasese side, from the district before Kasese, from Bunyangabu. Now that venue is before you reach Fort Portal town. The man is insisting, I want to go through Fort Portal, rotate back and go to the venue. And the policemen were clear, said, but you've left your venue behind. Why are you progressing to town? And yeah, I'm telling you the truth, because he wanted to go through. Yes, Bunyangabu is yes, because he started from Bunyangabu.
Let him finish, and then we'll come back to him.
And he's insisting on going to areas of Kisenyi. This is a very busy place, and of course, that, like I told you, that is his strategy. Now, policemen have had a discussion. They've agreed. Of course, sometimes they act as robots. Yes, I blame them for beating people sometimes, but yes, it's okay. Whatever you call them. But Council Katana. Yes. What is wrong with Kyagulanyi, for instance? because there was a clear communication as the leaders of
Why did the
Ntoroko.
Electoral Commission schedule both of them in the same area?
No, they were different.
Yeah.
I was just saying that the venue was the same on different days. And I want to tell you, had Honorable Chagulanyi gone to that venue at that time, there were hardly people. So for him, it's a mobilization tactic. I saw what happened on Vulvujo Road when he was campaigning in those 3 towns I had talked about, the Bubukwangas and the rest. Police stood on the other side trying to direct traffic as he stands in the middle of the road trying to create way for the other vehicles, which might be difficult. And I see this is going to happen in Kampala. My prayer is, let there be a clear communication from the Electoral Commission and police. Let them tell us, where is this man supposed to pass, so that we know prior. But I still want to call upon I want to call upon NOP that please, sometimes you're causing these problems. You have a clear route, but also secondary. As I conclude, I come from a region, for instance, in Rwenzori. We have just been, thank God, we've just been gotten off the one of the lists of the United Kingdom and the US as one of areas not safe enough for tourist travelers. And there are so many instances. Recently there was an instance that almost related to ADF. Now, if my friends here are not careful, I can assure you, if these crowds are not well protected, if you're going into an area that has not been surveilled well, and you won't get adequate security, anything can happen. And I want to assure you the entire blame will go in this country.
But also if you are beating them with large sticks.
No, but I'm saying...
I have a Julius here, send him, say, tell the minister that the population of Ntoroko is 114,858. This is the population of a small town. They have less than 50,000 registered voters. So he shouldn't, and some cows. So he shouldn't use those figures in his debate.
No. I was just using an example. So I was just trying to say that, and the government, of course, has a lot of intelligence, like what Chagulanyi said. Please go and create violence. I'm a rebel leader. These things are not taken lightly by the regime. I mean, what are you trying to gather from that crowd? What else do you want to do? How do you want to grow it into something different? But I just wanted to say as I conclude, if anything happens to Chagulanyi, God forbid, in this election, all the people around him, you don't know how much hate and blame will be carried onto this government. And therefore it is our response. Sometimes I even think that beating to keep life is better sometimes.
And I think that summarizes.
You say you are a minister.
Because you see, Oscar.
Yes.
Just one comment.
If you're going to keep people in line to protect life, sometimes yes, and all these policemen have batons. It's allowed in the law. No, you see all over the world.
Mr. Oscar, may you restrain
Professor
and Katana in anticipation that they
will speak.
They may wish to disrupt me. Even when you want to correct me, you can take note. But the law quoted that governs our elections, as amended, was enacted in 2005, well before Chagulanyi probably dreamt of becoming a presidential candidate. So the rules couldn't have been targeting him. Secondly, you ask a question: is this predetermined and ordered from where? Maybe from above in the skies. If it was predetermined and ordered from above, the enforcement, especially the what you call disruptions, would have been universal. Wherever Chagulanyi has gone, wherever NUP candidates are campaigning, it would be the same treatment meted out to them. It is my humble submission that from my assessment, some of the glitches are dictated by circumstances on the ground, how the candidate and his team approach local authorities. To the best of my knowledge, all presidential candidates and actually parliamentary candidates are required to harmonize their programs with each other, rival candidates, and with the local electoral commission officials. That's why partly you see that at parliamentary level, we don't, or at least so far, we have not yet had issues, even with very high profile opposition candidates. You have not had where there is a conflicts, assault, and so on, between security services and opposition candidates, including the NOP ones. Therefore, I think, and I have, by the way, sat with Frank Mugisha, the Director of Police, Director of Operations. This is what he told me. This was on Thursday afternoon. I asked him, I said, these ugly things that we see, what is causing? And secondly, we had 1 month at the start of the campaign, relatively of good interface. What was the point of inflection that we started seeing? Not NUP, Kyagulanyi. And I want to make that distinction. He says, yes, we take the harmonized program at the national level to the district level. NUP has local committees that organize the presidential rallies and meetings. Usually we actually agree, we harmonize with them. However, when Kyagulanyi's team now arrive with him from Kampala, they put aside, they brush aside what the local committee has agreed. The other day I asked Rovongai, I said, what is the problem? If the local committee has agreed with the police, what's the problem? He told me, this is what Rovongai told me, the same Thursday, after meeting Frank, I went and I met Rovongai, and this is what he told me.
Frank who?
Frank Musioga, the Director of Operations of the Police. This is what Rovongai told me. He said, our local committee appear sometimes weak, they are bulldozed by the police. I said, how? He said, sometimes the police pushes into their throat a venue that is not convenient. That when we reach, we discover the venue or the route that are not convenient. And when we reach, we discover that, they tell us that although we accepted, it is because these people use broad shoulders against us. And so when the team from Kampala arrives, they say no. Although our teams had agreed with you on the route and the venue, we are not accepting. That's what Rovongai told me. Therefore, I think NUP then needs to harmonize clearly, give their local people parameters. If you have not, if the police has pushed this venue on your throat, into your throat, please let us know so that we make intervention before with them, so that we have a non-friction environment. But Katana is not accurate. Yes, it is the district, but you must specify the actual venue. You can't say we have been allowed to be in Tororo. Are you going to be in Fono Pondo's garden in Mulanda Yago? And you say, I am in Tororo. Mulanda Yago of Fono Pondo is in Tororo, yes. But you must agree on a specific venue. Quite often, if it is a town, you ought to also agree.
Confirm that, because you're making a very important point.
Yes. Mulanda Yago is in Tororo.
No, I'm saying, is that the arrangement?
Yes.
District, you must.
You need to say the district, but also agree on the specific venue. And usually, if it is a town, also the route. In the specific case of Fort Portal,
running out of time now.
Kyagulanyi was, yes, about 10 kilometers or so to his venue, or 10 minutes, but the route was different. He insisted in going via town. Now, I also think from the campaign mantra of NUP, protest vote, like civil disobedience of Besigye, defiance of Besigye, I think they have copycatted, if there's such a word, elements of defiance and civil disobedience, and therefore they came up with protest vote. Let each of us, we're all analysts, let's go back and break down what are the elements of protest vote. I have sat back and I have analyzed, and I came up with about 4 areas. Protest vote means, 1, protest against the rules, even when they are legitimate, even when they are fair. Protest against the rules governing elections. 2, try to cast shadows of doubt, dark or light shadow, on the managers of the electoral process. Therefore, target the Electoral Commission as an institution, target its key people, the chairman, the chairperson, target law enforcement. Another element,
Some of
I
the
agree.
things you have
Yes.
described NRM thing.
No, I agree.
NRM is using them very
He should have added that he's doing biased analysis.
Yeah, Suda agree with
But thank you.
Yeah, Suda agree with the venue and Suda agree with the venue and the route, and then protest.
As I seek
so those are some of the key elements.
Oh, now you've gone to 9 minutes.
Those are the key elements of the protest. And final.
I'll allow you the final.
Yeah,
the traditional behavior.
I had said
the traditional behavior of NRM.
What was the point of
election? Playing by the rules.
You're going to
even defying the regulations, trying to explain protest to vote.
I'll allow you final.
No.
Yes.
But it's interrupting. It's interrupting. What is the point of inflection? I think Chagulanyi as an individual has seen that a calm election, a calm campaign,
the microphone was passed on to another person, and you are still continuing
not giving him the attention that he deserves. So, and therefore, what you do?
Respond very quickly, because
reach up the protest.
I hope you will have some discipline in Parliament.
I'm very disciplined. You are the one who has allowed this Nupu guy to interrupt.
Go on.
Yeah, number one is that the NRM government is running more or less an apartheid system, except that this time.
No, just respond to. We don't have time. Respond to the accusations that you are.
The accusations are.
The Christian says that you are disciplined in Porto that you did not attempt.
The accusation is.
Both the minister.
The accusation is.
Said you lack discipline and you are causing the chaos.
The accusations are inaccurate, and they are only intended to justify violence. Because in any case, even if there were violations, which is not the case, like I mentioned, they do not give justification for violence against innocent citizens. Arrest and charge. That is the standard. That's the standard. Because the police is not a militia. It is guided by the Constitution.
So I'm not
exactly. Because he knows that I'm speaking the truth and he wants to cover it with his shouting. Yeah. There are standards for law enforcement guided by the Constitution, the Police Act, and other legislations. If anybody violates the law, you don't randomly shoot people. You don't randomly beat people. You deal with the offenders. You don't use sticks to beat innocent people. You deal with the offenders and charge them. Even if...
Martin, hold on. We are out of time. I'll allow you that 1 minute.
Yes. So you do not create excuses for you to violate human rights and then try to run away and hide behind these people are running a protest vote, and it gives you justification. If the campaign we are running is illegal, use the law.
Thank you. Professor, 1 minute, round the table, and then we close the show.
We can go on and have this discussion about using violence and breaking the law. But I've seen, like, for example, people have been beaten because they are supposed to have broken the law of procession. They are not supposed to have processions. And I've seen also NRM people have processions. I've seen even the other candidates having processions. I don't know why breaking the law should be the monopoly of one party. Is there anybody who has a monopoly of breaking the law? That for you can break, you will not be beaten. The others, when they break, they are beaten. And the minister here was justifying beating. He's not ashamed. He's not ashamed.
I'll give you a minute.
Of saying that people are beaten. But they are not beaten by sticks. They are beaten by Nkoni. The two are different.
Some are bigger.
Yeah?
Some are far bigger than Nkoni.
But you see, the Nkoni, what I meant by that is that you first go and buy a well-prepared stick, and therefore it is premeditated to come and beat, and it must be dry, so that when you hit, you maximize.
Thank you.
You
Joseph,
maximize the impact.
Whatever the case, I think Ofono Pondo's submission was nearly persuading me, except, of course, I also have grounds around Katana. Maybe we should commit Ofono Pondo to facilitate a meeting between the police and the Electoral Commission, NRA campaign team, and NUP, and then they report to us here. Because whatever is happening is shameful, is criminal. There is no justification.
I also applaud him. naming them.
Yeah, but I
Vote for
I
buying a
have
gun.
listened to my Obi, the Honorable Mugara, saying, but you see, beating, this one is okay. You'd rather beat someone before they are killed.
I will ask him to withdraw.
And I
Otherwise,
listened, and I also read the acting spokesperson's tweet of the army, Chris Magezi, saying people are killed. What about? You think this beating is a problem? People are killed. Let them be beaten a little bit. And I also remember the same words that were used by the former Inspector General of Police, Martin Okotho Kuchola, saying, "We will beat you. We will beat you." Before you get into the fire, we will kill you before you get into the fire, and things like that. So for me, I think, again, government spokespersons and people who speak on such things and matters have a very big job to do. And Honorable, I beg you withdraw that statement. To be honest with you.
No, thank you so much. But you see, no. You see, Oscar. World over, I have seen, and I think it is allowed. The tools that police uses to quell insurrection and batons. No. Batons, tear gas, teasers are part of these tools. So I don't know what's the purpose of a baton. To just carry it around. But you see, what we are trying to say. Of course, Nkoni is unfortunate, but what I'm trying to say that batons are some of the legitimate assets that can be used to that can be used to stop. But for me, my prayer is really that nope, somehow you're causing this problem. Okay. Just restrain and follow the guidelines, because actually, and I'm going to ask our party chairman, we need to complain to Electoral Commission because you're getting an unfair advantage when you find a gathering already collected for you in a town, yet for us to go through a lot to mobilize people.
1 minute. Katana will speak after you for 1 minute.
I'm very, very aware of the Blue incident, that the president actually met the division commanders up there and inquired to find out what sparked. He's not amused, as many of us are not amused, because, as you have acknowledged publicly, this election, I hope people understand this phrase, this election is for NRM and President Museveni to lose. Meaning that every evidence is that we are the ones winning. There is no reason
to beat up people.
Why we should go extrajudicial, or state agencies should go extrajudicial. The other day I had another show and I said, you police, even when Kyagulanyi tries to be a nuisance on the road, first of all, he has 4 or 5 rallies, venues to go to. It is unlikely that he's going to be on that street for more than 40 minutes. Allow him be a nuisance there, Ugandans will judge him as a nuisance.
Benjamin Katana,
don't attract unnecessary things onto the NRM victory.
We are running out of time. I've been allowed.
The position that the incident.
Go on, Katana.
Yeah.
Go on, Katana. Go on.
First of all, he's talking about the Guru incident and says the commander-in-chief is not amused. But you see, why that cannot be accurate is that if he was not amused, then we would see people being charged in court, the violators of the law. Because
thank you.
But the silence from government,
yes,
when that happens, shows that the conduct of these security personnel is sanctioned and is intended to give Museveni an advantage over his opponents in the campaign. And this has been happening since 1996. There is no campaign where they have not used violence against the opponents of Museveni.
Thank you very much, listeners of Capital Gang. Thank you, the gangsters of the day. Thank you. Ofanopondo asked Professor Mwambusa, why are you annoyed? Oh, I'm also annoyed. They are very big sticks. So thank you. Listeners, continue following us. Congratulations, Ofanopondo. I am Oscar Semwe Msoke, and I shall see you next week. But you know, it is very sincere. I am Oscar Semwe Msoke, and I shall see you next week.